This is the Leatherman Wave. This is the Leatherman Signal, and these are the scissors from a Leatherman Wingman. I think it's the Wingman. Could be the Sidekick. Pretty sure it's the Wingman, though. And what we are going to be doing today is popping these scissors onto these two Leatherman tools. Now, if you've been following along with my journey on the Leatherman Signal, you know that I've already swapped this out for a file. We're going to swap that out again today for the scissors here, and you could do this for the file or the saw on the Leatherman Wave. Might even be able to do it. No, I don't think you'll be able to do it with the blades for reasons that we will show momentarily. So let's start by cracking these open. I have already done a quick test, and we'll talk about what we did to get the scissors ready for this process. A couple of missteps. You may notice a small crack in the body of the scissors. That is not something you will have to deal with. Let me quickly get this unscrewed, and basically all you're going to need to modify these scissors here is a template, which you can use the existing file for. Took these two pieces and clamped them together, and the two most important pieces, let's zoom down here, the two most important pieces of geometry here are where this small little ledge lands, as well as this back edge here. And so with a little bit of filing, I was able to match that back edge pretty closely on the scissors. And then all I had to do from there is drill out this center pivot hole. And let me check the size of drill bit I used. It was not perfectly correct, but I was able to get it there pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna pull up my, my Amazon history and find out what size bit that was, so I don't lead y'all astray. It looks like it was it 7/16? No, not 7/16. 3/16. It was a 3/16 inch drill bit, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And that was what I used to drill it out. Let's grab some calipers here, as well as a spare wave pivot, because I think you can do a little bit better if we swap this over 2 inches. 0.221, off camera, 0.221 inches is the diameter of that pivot. So if you can get a closer size drill bit, that would be recommended. All I did was drill this out with a carbide tipped bit. You want the carbide to get through these hardened steels that they use in a lot of their tools. And then I took a conical Dremel bit and just opened it up ever so slightly more until it dropped into the pivot. So I think that's all the steps I took with these scissors. Let's zoom back out so I stop going off camera. You know, again, it was filing down this back edge to match our template, making sure that our little catch there was lined up, and then drilling out that center hole. Pretty simple work. Didn't actually take that long, and actually worked out better than my last attempt at grinding. So in order to put this onto a Leatherman Wave, all we had to do was remove that pivot screw like you saw before. You'll probably need 2 screwdrivers to get that open the first time. Since I've had it open, it is a little bit easier. And you can see here, when we lay the scissors down over the pivot, you can see how that geometry all is going to interact. You need that flat end here to land right against that liner lock at the same time that the small pip at the back side connects with the back end of the wave frame. That's kind of the stop, and locking in between those 2 points is what creates that that lockup that's nice and strong. So let's go ahead and pop this in place. I'm going to put a little pressure downward just to bring that pivot all the way through. The liner lock on the bottom side is fighting against me here. Drop those scissors in place. Actually, let's close them up and slip them inside the frame. That's going to help hold against that liner lock on this side. You'll see it's going to want to just spring right back up. Pull the stream back up just to make sure I'm not screwing anything up as we go. And then we will drop in the spring for the scissors. Now this piece required no adjustments. It does have, by default, a little bit larger hole in it, so it does fit in there just fine. All we're going to do is just line that up, make sure that the small dimple there drops into the opening on the frame, and we'll attach our pivot screw. Now I am going to put this on the Signal 2 just to test out and see if that works as well. Keeping some pressure here between my fingers to hold that those scissors down on that pivot. And I'm sure you notice we dropped that bronze washer in place to start. And I'm, again, just double checking that the stream is still running smoothly. We will cinch down. Now, right now, you can see it's a little bit caught, and there is a gap there. So we're going to wiggle our scissors around just a little bit. And we should be able to get those to drop into place. On that pivot. There it goes. That's fighting the liner locks, which are pressing up against that. But once we get that sorted out, we should be able to cinch this down nice and tight and make sure our spring is aligned properly, which it is not. So our spring is still out of alignment. This is a bit tricky because there's a couple of different moving parts and the liner lock fighting us. Let me swing this around. Try and get some of that tension off the spring and then try again. Hopefully we're getting closer here. I'm gonna back that screw off just a touch. Let's open this up and see how it works. Yes, success. That's reassuring. So that is the Wingman scissors on a Leatherman Wave. Everything does lock up well. The scissors do actuate properly. One thing I could probably do a little bit better here is I kind of filed that bottom edge of the scissors flat, and they really should have a bit of an angle to them. Let me see if I can demonstrate with this ruler. So I filed that back edge completely flat, the one that interacts with the liner lock. If you were to do it at a little bit of an angle, like such, a little bit exaggerated, that liner lock will engage a little bit better. And right now you can hear a little click, maybe, when I actuate that lock. That should be taken out by a little bit more care on that step. But as always, we're doing a lot of different testing here, still learning a lot about these sorts of modifications. And that is how we can get some scissors onto a Leatherman Wave. Now I'm going to take these apart right now, and we're going to move them over to the Leatherman Signal and see how well that works. I don't expect there will be any issues, but you never know. And then we will take a Q&A, as we always do, from any members in the stream at the end of the video. If you guys are not members, we do these mods live every Tuesday for our members, and then the videos come out the following Monday. So make sure to join up if it's something you want to see and get your questions answered on the stream. I'm going to grab 2 screwdrivers here because this is tightened up a fair bit. And we're just going to pop that other side off. Hey-oh, there goes our bronze washer. Let's get some stuff out of the way here. And we'll pop off our file. This one was chopped down in a previous modification attempt. I'll slide our pivot back in place since that dropped out. Bronze washer always goes on first to reduce the friction against the tool body. And we will slot our scissors in followed by the scissors spring. Make sure that lines up, and that's going to go down over top of that liner lock. Are you able to see that? It's going to press down on that liner lock, and it kind of acts as a stop for the liner lock. And while we hold everything in place as best we can, I'm going to drop that pivot screw in place. Everything's going to come misaligned, as it always does. We'll get it started, and then we'll get everything aligned up before we finish tightening it down. So I'm just giving that a bit of a wiggle while pressing down on that liner lock. We'll go ahead and close up the scissors and press down to make sure that they are seated on the liner lock, which they are not. As soon as we add spring tension into the mix, everything that's simple becomes a little bit more difficult. So let's tighten that down. Got that tight, backed it off just a quarter turn. Let's see if I think we might have something misaligned. We definitely do, but that's okay. Yeah, it's our spring, so you can tell that that's not aligned because it's not locking into place and pressing against those scissors. So let's finagle that a little bit more until it drops back into place. We need to give ourselves a little bit more working room by backing that screw off. And unless I'm mistaken, we should be able to get this here on the Leatherman Signal. I've been playing with the Signal quite a lot because it's one of those tools that everyone likes, but I can't really find the appeal for. So I've been trying to figure out why everyone likes it so much, and I've been modifying it to suit my needs more. That's why we had the file on there, and that worked. I don't know if you saw that. I just pressed the spring in the to the right here, and I felt it click down into place. So let's tighten that up again just a little bit. And now we have everything working properly. So that should be that. Okay, perfectly functioning. I did a video recently, I think, or it's coming out soon perhaps, on how I set tension on plier pivots. If that's something you want to see, check that out. I would normally add some Loctite here before tightening this down for a final test, but we do have that working out a-okay. A little bit of a catch somewhere. Let me feel where that is. Something's catching right about there. I don't really mind. It kind of helps keep the tool shut, but I wonder if it's the rivet just bumping up against the inside of the frame. Not a big deal. Definitely still one-handable. And there's a pair of scissors on a Leatherman Signal, and I think that might be useful for some users. I don't have any scissors on the inside. I've got to debate whether I want to keep the file in here or the scissors. We'll swap those back at a later date, but that is the modification done. Like I said, if you're not a member, make sure, I hope you consider joining us on Tuesdays, and if not, check out these Mod Monday videos every Monday. We're going to jump into Q&A now for any members in the stream.